Social isolation has a tremendous effect on the brain, changing its structure and function, and increasing the risk of dementia, emotional problems, and cognitive decline. Memory, judgment, and emotional control are all impacted by the diminished volume and compromised connection of important brain regions, such as the prefrontal cortex, hippocampus, and amygdala. Prolonged seclusion also increases stress chemicals like cortisol, which further impairs brain function. These alterations demonstrate how social connection is essential for the brain's best cognitive and affective functioning. Number 10. Cognitive decline and dementia risk. Social isolation is becoming more widely acknowledged as a major risk factor for dementia, including Alzheimer's disease and cognitive decline. Long-term social isolation is associated with a faster decline in cognitive capacities like memory, executive function, and processing speed, according to research conducted on sizable cohorts of older adults. Regular social engagement gives the brain the cognitive stimulation it needs, which can hasten the onset of neurodegenerative diseases. For instance, social isolation raises the chance of dementia by between 26% to 60%, according to a meta-analysis. This risk is similar to that of other known variables like smoking or high blood pressure. It is believed that social interaction increases brain resilience by constantly testing neural networks, while isolation causes them to be underutilized and eventually deteriorate. Number 9. Brain shrinkage. Social isolation has been linked to decreased gray matter volume in a number of important brain regions, including the prefrontal cortex, hippocampus, and temporal lobes, according to neuroimaging research. The hippocampus is essential for memory formation and spatial navigation, whereas the prefrontal cortex controls higher-order cognitive processes like planning, decision-making, and social conduct. People struggle with attention, memory recall, and social cognition when these regions diminish. Atrophy associated with isolation is also seen in the temporal lobes, which handle language and sensory data. The brain's capacity to preserve and produce new neurons and synapses is thought to be hampered by a combination of decreased neurotrophic support, chronic stress effects, and decreased neural activity, which leads to this structural brain loss. Number 8. Impaired memory and learning. A major victim of social isolation is the hippocampus, which is crucial for learning and imprinting new memories. Brain-derived neurotrophic factor, a protein essential for neuron survival, development, and synaptic plasticity, is reduced in one important process. The ability of the brain to adjust and reorganize in response to new knowledge is impaired when BDNF levels are lower. This results in problems remembering new things, remembering what has been learned, and adjusting to changing surroundings. Additionally, as the hippocampus is one of the first areas impacted by Alzheimer's disease, isolation-induced hippocampus shrinkage is associated with heightened susceptibility to neurodegenerative disorders. Chronic stress brought on by isolation also makes hippocampus damage worse, resulting in a vicious cycle that affects cognitive performance. Number 7. Elevated stress hormones. A strong psychological stressor, social isolation sets off the body's stress response system, which raises cortisol levels, the main stress hormone. While persistent increase brought on by extended isolation has neurotoxic effects, especially in the hippocampus, cortisol is necessary for managing acute stress. Memory and cognitive function are deteriorated by high cortisol levels because they decrease neurogenesis, induce neuronal death, and impair synaptic plasticity. Chronic stress also throws off the balance of neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin, which control motivation and mood, leading to anxiety and depression. In addition to damaging the structure of the brain, this hormone imbalance hinders the brain's capacity to heal after injury. Number 6. Altered brain networks. The brain coordinates emotional and cognitive processing through intricate networks. The default mode network, which is active during introspection and memory recall, the salience network, which recognizes significant stimuli, the subcortical network, which is involved in emotion and reward, and the central executive network, which is in charge of attention and working memory. are among the important networks whose functional connectivity is disrupted by social isolation. The brain is less effective at processing information, controlling emotions, and sustaining focus when these networks are disrupted. Salience network dysfunction, for example, might result in issues with social interaction and emotional regulation, whereas reduced DMN connection is linked to memory loss and self-referential thinking. The emotional and cognitive symptoms seen in isolated people are a result of these network changes. Number 5, emotional and mental health effects. Isolation has a significant negative influence on emotional health and raises the risk of anxiety, depression, and restless nights. Feelings of loneliness, despair, and low self-esteem can result from a lack of meaningful engagement and social support. Because these emotional disorders affect motivation, focus, and memory, they worsen cognitive decline. In instance, depression can buffer the association between social isolation and cognitive decline, and is a recognized risk factor for dementia. Poor sleep quality speeds up cognitive decline by interfering with deep sleep's memory consolidation and brain detoxification processes, which are frequently observed in lonely people. Emotional discomfort and cognitive decline interact to produce a feedback loop that exacerbates brain damage. Number 4, rewiring of neural circuits. Significant alterations in brain circuitry, particularly in regions linked to reward, motivation, and social behavior, are brought about by social isolation. Decreased social stimulation impairs the brain's reward system, which uses dopamine signaling, making people less receptive to addictive behaviors as they look for other ways to get their fix. Isolation also affects the function of glial cells, which promotes synaptic and neuronal health, which reduces brain plasticity in general. To further reinforce social isolation, these brain alterations may show up as heightened anxiety, impulsivity, and social disengagement. Number 3, reduced social cognition. Long-term isolation inhibits social cognition, which is the capacity to recognize, decipher, and react to social cues. In isolated people, there is a structural and functional deterioration in brain areas related to empathy, theory of mind, and emotion perception. This makes it harder to comprehend the feelings, goals, and viewpoints of others, which can result in social misunderstandings and increased retreat. People find it more difficult to re-engage socially and re-establish meaningful relationships as a result of the negative feedback loop created by the reduction in social cognition, where isolation breeds further isolation. Number 2, physical health impact. Physical health is significantly impacted by social isolation in addition to mental and cognitive health. People who live alone are more likely to suffer from long-term conditions like heart disease, high blood pressure, and compromised immune systems. The brain alterations associated with isolation impact body systems through stress-related pathways, such as hormone dysregulation and inflammation. Stress and loneliness can cause chronic inflammation, which speeds up aging and damages tissue. Isolation is also frequently linked to poorer health behaviors, such as a bad diet, less physical exercise, and non-compliance with medical advice, all of which affect lifespan and quality of life. Number 1, recovery through social engagement and lifestyle. Thankfully, the brain has exceptional adaptability, which enables it to bounce back from the detrimental impacts of social isolation. Resuming social activities, including volunteering, joining clubs, or getting back in touch with loved ones, stimulates neural circuits that are involved in emotional regulation and social cognition, which aids in brain repair. Exercise counteracts hippocampus shrinkage and elevates mood via promoting neurogenesis and raising BDNF levels. By strengthening neural networks and increasing cognitive reserve, learning new abilities or pastimes provides cognitive engagement that helps the brain fend off potential decline. With sustained effort in social, physical, and cognitive tasks, the brain's neuroplasticity enables it to remodel and heal over time. Thanks for watching our video, and don't forget to subscribe.